And we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, with these live streams, please let me know if you can see me and you can hear me okay. And if you can, then welcome to the first of 3 live streams that I'm doing today for the game Star Trek Captain's Chair. This game is designed by David Turksey and Nigel Buckle. It is a re-implementation of the Imperium card system. So if you have played that game, you will be familiar with most of this one. This is being published by WizKids. This is a finished production copy of the game. I have the card sleeved. The game doesn't come with sleeves. It's going to be out at some point. I don't know when. The factory are currently printing it. This one was sent to me hot off the press, so copies are not around in shops yet. I don't know exactly when that's going to be, but we're doing these videos to help advertise the game and obviously to help you learn how to play the game. So yeah, these videos are designed for a few people. First of all, if you've already ordered the game or you've bought the game and you want to learn how to play, then you can watch these videos and really hope that they will help you get to grips with the game. Also, these videos are there to show people what the game is, to see if it's the kind of game that you would enjoy playing yourself. If it is, obviously leave me a comment in the video. Let me know if this video persuades you one way or the other. I'm not here to persuade you. I'm just here to give you the information and let you make a decision about whether it is the kind of game that you would like. This is a sponsored video from WizKids, so big thank you to WizKids for supporting the channel, but that does mean you're not going to get any actual opinions on the game from me. I'm just here to show you how the game plays. 3 videos today. The first video is just me. I am going to be playing through the Paul-friendly solo cadet training mode, where I am going to be playing against not even an automated opponent, basically a virtual opponent, and I'm trying to score as many points as I can. This solo cadet training mode, I would strongly recommend this. Once you have got the game, unless you are very comfortable with the system, this is a great way to just sit there and play through the deck on your own to learn the deck. The game comes with 6 decks, each of which represents one of the captains. I'm going to be playing the Picard deck today. Excuse me, I've got something in my throat. 6 different decks. Each one plays very differently. So even when you know the rules of this game, I would still recommend using this cadet training mode a couple of times just to go through a new deck, just to see the cards in there and learn it and see how it goes. Then this afternoon, JP is coming over and we are playing the solo mode again, but against a bot. So there is a solo mode included in this game, which is a separate rulebook on how the bot works, and that is an automated opponent, and JP's coming over and he's going to be running the bot. I'm still going to be playing Picard, but he's going to be playing the bot for Koloth. That's happening at 4 o'clock today. And then finally this evening, JP and I are going to be playing the 2-player game of it. So they're the 3 videos today. In this video, I'm going to be going into probably more explanation of what the game is than I will in the one at 4 o'clock. For tonight, I'll probably start all over again, because I know some people will probably just watch that video. So, what is Star Trek Captain's Chair? This is a thematic deck building game set in the Star Trek universe. And to answer the question of which part of the Star Trek universe this is set in, the answer to that is yes. Literally everything, from the original series right through to Lower Decks, including Discovery, including the films, including Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, or basically everything. Everything to do with Star Trek from any of the timelines or whatever is included in this game. As I mentioned earlier on, this is a mechanical re-implementation of the Imperium card system. So if you have played that game, and let me know if you're watching this live, if you have played that game. If you have, then a lot of this will be familiar to you. But if you haven't, don't worry, because I am going to be basically teaching you this game from scratch as much as I can. This isn't a how to play video. This is a tutorial and playthrough. So there might be certain parts of the game that I don't cover in this video because they haven't happened. But let's go through the setup. Oh, not the reboot films. Yes, Nigel has corrected me. It's not everything to do with Trek. The latest Star Trek feature films, it doesn't include those. Everything else, it is included. So what do we have to set up? Well, first of all, I mentioned we have a captain. So there are 6 captains included in the game. I have chosen to play Jean-Luc Picard today. And let's have a look at my player board. So this is the player board for Jean-Luc Picard. All of the player boards look very similar to this. They each have 3 tracks. One's for research, one's for influence, and one is for military. You are going to be advancing a cube up these tracks, and that is going to unlock certain bonuses at the end of the game. And all of the tracks are different for each of the captains. You've also got a goal at the top. So I'm playing with the basic side for this game, which has 1 mission. If we were to flip this board over to the other side, there are 3 missions included on there. We also have a summary of the turn sequence printed on here. Other than the board, you have a deck of cards, and every captain's deck is unique. And if we just have a quick look at what we've got here, just press this button here. So we've got various parts. First of all, I have a captain card. That starts off in play. It starts off in play, and it won't leave play. I start off with a ship, which is deployed. Not all of the captains might start off with a ship, but because it says deployed at the bottom of it, that means it starts off in play. I also have a deck of cards. Now, this deck of cards has the word, and let me just zoom in on this to show you, has the word available at the bottom. Available, and there are 10 of these for the Picard deck. What that means is these cards start off in my deck. So I'm going to shuffle them, and I'm going to put them in my deck. I also have a bunch of other cards which are called developments. Developments go in a pile, but they go face up. You don't need to shuffle these, and it is because any time you get to take a development card, you can actually choose which one of these to take, but there is a cost associated with it. So these are quite powerful cards, and you won't get to these until later on in the game, and you probably won't get all of these cards in the game. So it does mean that not only does every captain's deck play differently, when you get to take one of these development cards, you will choose which one to take, and that will determine, the strategy that you're going to take over the course of the game. The other type of card is the reserve cards. Now, these are very similar to the development cards in that you don't start with these, but you will get them over the course of the game. But the differences are, these are shuffled. Let's shuffle them face down so that I can't see what's doing on. And what happens is these are placed on top of my development cards. So I mentioned that this is a deck building game. You start off with a deck of 10 cards, and you will shuffle those cards, and you will draw 5 of those cards into your hand. That is your hand size. Should be 5 left. Yes, there is 5 left. Right. Every time your deck is empty and you need to draw another card, I believe it's when you need to draw another card. Nigel is my rules check. He will just confirm that. But I think it is when your deck is empty and you need to draw a card and you can't, what you do is you shuffle your discard pile, which I'm going to put here, make a new deck, and then you take the top card of your reserve deck and you add it to your deck. So over the course of the game, because the Picard deck has 4 cards in the reserve pile, then what that's going to mean is the first 4 times that I go through my deck, I am going to take one of those cards, add it to my deck, add it to the top, and that means I will draw that straight away into my hand. Once my reserve deck is empty, the next time that I cycle through my deck, I get to take a development card. And again, I get to choose which one of those to take. I shuffle my discard pile, make a new deck, choose a card, put it on top of the deck, and then draw up to my hand size. So that is how the deck building part of the game works for your own deck. But we also have a market. So let me just show you the market. We have a market of 4 different types of cards. We have persons, we have cargo, we have ships, and we have allies. And each one comes with its own deck of cards. You'll notice that there are more of these than there are these. And then what happens is you shuffle each one and you deal out the top one, and this is the available cards in the market. There are going to be various things that we can do in the game where we can gain cards from the market. Cards will cycle from the market into the junk pile and we'll get new cards. And there is a way in this game that you can actually scan through these cards looking for particular things. But either way, these cards are going to be added into your deck. So as well as you developing your own deck with your own personal, unique, customized cards, you are going to be getting new cards from the market as the game goes on. The other thing that we have to set up the game is we have locations. So what we have here, the game comes with 20 locations. 10 of them are starting locations and the other 10 of them are advanced locations. And what we do is at the start of the game, we shuffle the starting locations and we deal out 3 at random. Then we shuffle the advanced locations and make a deck, and we put 1 remaining starting location onto the deck. So this is a deck of 11 cards. The top one is a starting location and the other 10 are advanced locations. And that is that setup done as well. Other things that we have. There are 3 resources in the game. There is glory. Glory is effectively victory points. You want to get as much glory as you can during the game. There is latinum, which is a resource that you can spend, and there is dilithium. Now at any point, and I did forget this in my game this morning, at any point you can use glory as if it was 2 dilithium or as if it was 1 latinum. So that is something that you can do. But the idea of the game is to get as much glory as you can. Now, in the 2-player game that you're going to see later on today, you will have a series of Stardate cards, and those Stardate cards will have glory stacked on them. And any time in the game that you gain glory, you take it from the Stardate cards and you put it into your supply. That is the timer for the game. So the timer for the game is running through the glory tokens on the Stardate cards. In this training mode, that's not the rules. This is still the timer, and we have 5 tokens on card number 1. And when card number 1 disappears, we have 5 tokens on card number 2. But because that's the timer, and that's the exact number of rounds that we're going to play 11, because when they've all run out, we get 1 more go. So any time in this particular mode of the game that we gain glory, I just gain it from the supply, which is off camera. So that is a difference between this particular mode and the 2-player mode. I don't actually know how the bot mode works. I'll find out that this afternoon. But that is our timer for the game. So in the solo cadet training mode that we're playing today, we have 11 turns. And that is tracked by, at the end of each of the turns, we're going to take the top one of these glory counters and we're going to put it on a card in the market. And the idea is to score as many points as you can. Now, quick note about the points. How do you score points? Well, there's a few ways of doing it. The first way is, if we look at this card here, this is a card, Zephram Cochrane, and this is worth 1 point at the end of the game. So some of the cards are actually worth a fixed number of points as printed on the card. Other cards will be worth a variable number of points, and that is all based on, we look at this again, this track here. So this card here, the holographic drone ship, is worth a variable number of points depending on the level of my influence at the end of the game. And that's what these are. And remember, these are different for every character. For every captain, these are different. So if at the end of the game, my cube ends up here, for example, that means this card is worth 3 points. And essentially, from a tactical point of view, you want to be increasing these tracks and getting cards that match what you're increasing in order to get the most points at the end of the game. There's other ways that you can score as well. If we have a look at Jean-Luc Picard himself, look at him, how handsome he is. He has an end of game scoring ability that I'm going to score 1 point for each of my allies at the end of the game. And again, there's lots of different end of game scoring depending on the captains, depending on other cards. So anytime you see end of game scoring, that's going to score as well. Now, I did say that I wasn't going to make too many comparisons to Imperium, but a lot of people watching this video have probably played Imperium. And I will tell you that the scoring for this game is more streamlined and it is easier. One of the criticisms that Imperium came in with was that the scoring was a little bit too fiddly and complex. They've really streamlined it for this. So it's a lot easier in this one if you're worried about that. Right, Nigel has confirmed you only reshuffle when you need to interact with the top card of your deck. Yeah, so it isn't when your deck runs out. It's when your deck runs out and you need to do something with the top card of your deck. Either drawing a card, or if an effect says discard a card, or whatever. The last little bit of setup, just to explain what we've got here. These isolinear chips, these are action tokens. Each turn I will get to do 3 actions in the game. And you flip them over when you've done an action. These are really important because there are other things that you can do during your turn which don't count as actions. So it's really important that you have these and you track the number of actions you've got with that. Jean-Luc Picard has 5 away teams. He's got a number 5 on his card, which means I have these away teams. I think the rulebook says you're supposed to put these on the captain card, but I don't want to cover up his nice bald head, so I'm just going to pop them there. And also, for this solo playthrough today, you can see just off camera here, we have away teams from the other player. So although we're not playing against an automated bot today, we are playing against a virtual opponent. And that virtual opponent is considered to have one of everything everywhere, including away teams on neutral locations. So it has an away team on each of those neutral locations. And if that location goes and a new one comes out, it has one. And in fact, interesting, if I do something which is going to remove one of those away teams, then after it's been removed, it will reappear again. So for everything in the game where I'm interacting with the opponent, it's considered to have one of anything. Now, I did mention that the game is going to end after 11 turns. There is a way that it can end earlier, and that is the burn. Over here, we have a deck of incidents. There are 6 cards in this incident deck. These are bad cards. They are worth -2 points at the end of the game each. And if the incident deck ever runs out, the game ends. Now, it doesn't mean all players lose, because the incident deck empties, yes. In a 2-player game, if the incident deck empties, it's whichever player has the fewest incident cards. They win the game. In the solo game that I'm playing today, if the burn happens, I lose. So I need to be very careful. I need to not take too many of these incidents. And thankfully, I probably won't, because there is 6 of them, and the chance of me taking 6 is pretty slim. But there you go. That's that. Right, I think we are ready to start. Yeah, I think we're ready to start. So, what have I done? I've drawn my 5 cards, and let's go through what you do on your turn. Each turn consists of 4 steps, and the 4 steps are printed on my captain board here. The first step is resupply. In that step, basically what I do is I resolve any resupply actions that I have. So if I have any card that says the word resupply on it, I will get to do that now. I don't have any at the moment. There is one in this deck, but I don't have it. Then we go through to the control, and in control, what we do is we look at the neutral locations. If I have at least 3 tokens on a planet, and at least 2 more than my opponent, which I will have if I have 3, because there's 1 opponent, then I take control of that location. Now, I say tokens, it could be an away team, or it could be a ship. So if I was to send a ship and 2 away teams to there, then in the control step of the next round, I would actually take control of that location. Controlling locations is good, and we'll explain that a bit more when that happens, but I'm probably going to want to do that at some point in the game. Other than that, step 3 is the action step, and this is the main part of the game, and this is where I'm going to get to take 3 actions during the game. After I've done all of my actions, we will do cleanup. So, let's go through the actions. Basically, anything that has the word play, my cards are upside down, anything that has the word play with that icon next to it means it will cost me an action to play the card. This one, for example, this diplomacy card, has 2 different ways of playing it. The bottom one, it would cost me an action. I would play the card. But if I played it for the top action, that does not cost... Sorry, it's not an action. If I play it for the top effect, it does not cost me an action. So, let's just have a quick look at the cards in my hand. These are the 5 that I've got. And you'll notice that Will Riker has a resupply action on him. That will happen if Will Riker is in play at the start of my next round. So I'm tempted to try and get Will Riker into play. And the way that you get persons into play, there's a couple of ways of doing it, but essentially each captain can have 1 duty officer. And there's lots of different abilities on here, but if I play Will Riker, it will use the top effect. If Will Riker is my duty officer, I get to do the activation effects that are printed on there. But I'm just going to spend a minute because I need to look at my cards, and I hadn't planned this, so I just want to make sure I know what's going on. And I'm not going to play optimally today because I'm concentrating on the stream and I'm concentrating on teaching and I'm doing all sorts of stuff. The other thing, just while we're here, as well as actions, I just wanted to mention activations. If you have a card in play that has an activation ability or a reaction ability, then you can use that once per turn by turning it sideways. So for example, I could activate the USS Enterprise to promote a person from your hand to duty officer. So that is something that I can do, and that's not an action. So what I do is you turn the card sideways to say that you're activating it. I take the card from my hand and I put it into play as my duty officer. And duty officers go above your captain. And then, now that I have Will Riker in play, I can activate Will Riker by turning him sideways and do one of his activations. And again, none of that uses one of my 3 actions. So you can actually do quite a number of things on your turn. So, do we want to do that? I'm thinking possibly I do. Let's have a think. I could keep that. Put a person on you to gain a person. Let's have a look at these cards, these market cards. Let's see which ones of these might be good for me. So Picard is all about getting allies. I'm going to get 1 point for every ally at the end of the game. And let's just have a quick check about Picard's mission. So each of the basic captains has a mission. And my mission is peace negotiations. So in order to complete this mission, I need to have 3 allies beamed aboard the same ship. And I need to have at least 2 of my tracks at 4 or more. Now, at the start of the game, they're all down here. So there's no point me even trying to do this at the moment. But it does mean that over the course of the game, I'm going to have to try and get 3 allies beamed to the same ship. And we'll show you how that works in a minute. And I need to increase these. You want to try and do that if you can, because the reward for doing it is actually quite nice. Right, so meanwhile, what are we going to do? Okay, so that is not particularly great, because Will Riker's ability allows me to draw 2 cards from my discard pile. I don't have any cards in my discard pile at the moment. So here's what we're going to do. That card is actually not very good for me, but I have a plan. Yes, I have a plan. So what I'm going to do is I am going to play Analyze this. And I'm going to use the middle ability, which, despite having played this deck about 10 times, I have never used this ability on this card. So I'm going to discard, so it's an action, so I have to flip over one of my isolinear chips to say that I've used an action. And I'm going to discard 2 cards to gain a cargo. Now, terminology in this game is very important. There is a lot of terminology, but the game comes with a handy-dandy reference sheet and the back of the rulebook with a list, a summary of what they all do. So we're going to go through these very carefully, but make sure when you're playing the game and make sure when you're teaching people the game that you use the correct terminology, because gain is different from take, for example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard 2 cards. Now that is from hand, so I'm going to discard 2 cards from my hand to my discard pile. And it doesn't really matter what, because I'm about to get them back. So I'm going to discard 2 cards from my hand to gain a cargo. Now, whenever you gain cargo, this is the cargo from the market, I can either take the top card that's visible, and if I do, I replenish it with a new one, or I can take the top card from the deck. And then, when you gain a card, you can either put it on your deck, or you can put it on your discard pile. Now, there's benefits to both of those, because if you put it on your deck, it means you're guaranteed to draw it, ready for next round. But remember what I said earlier on, you want to be cycling through your deck as much as possible, because every time you do, you get better cards added into it. So I need to decide if I want to take this Type 3 Disruptor Pistols, which is, it's not a particularly good card, I don't think, for my deck, but it is worth 2 points. Or I could just take Blind from the top of the deck. I think I'm going to take Blind from the top of the deck. So I'm just going to take this one, and we'll see what we've got. We've got Henry the Horter. Excellent. Right, so I've gained this card, and I can either put this on top of my deck, or I can put it on my discard pile. I'm going to put it on my discard pile. Yes, I'm going to put it on my discard pile. Right, now this card here that I played, this stays in my staging area. These will not go to my discard pile until the end of my turn. Right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Will Riker. So Will Riker's going to come into play. That's going to cost me another action. So we're going to flip that over. And it's draw 2 cards from your discard pile. So I am going to take my discard pile and I am going to take... Oh, now that's interesting. That is very interesting, actually. I think I'm going to take that one, and I'm going to take that one. Okay, so I've taken 2 cards from my discard pile. You may spend 1 dilithium to send an away team to a location. If you targeted a control location, I would trigger that card's control operation. So again, terminology is really important, and if you're scared by this text, don't worry, because after a couple of games, you really start to get used to it. So I may spend a dilithium crystal. I'm going to spend 1. I can send an away team to a location. These are locations. Players can also have locations under their control. And what this is saying is that if I chose to send an away team to a location that I controlled, I would trigger that location's control effect. I don't have any locations that I control, so I'm actually... Ooh, which one of these do I want? I'm looking at a few different things on here. I'm looking at the tags on the left-hand side, which can be really important. I think I'm going to gain this one. Well, I'm going to try and gain this one. So I'm going to send an away team to Indri 8. And if anybody is a Star Trek fan and knows the history of Indri 8, please pop it in the chat. Let me know what Indri 8 is, because my knowledge of Trek is quite good, but not that good. So I can't remember what Indri 8 is or which episode it was in. Anyway, that's what I've done. I've played Will Riker. I've played 2 actions. I have 3 cards in hand still. And what I'm going to do is I am going to play Red Alert. So I'm going to play Red Alert as an action. So that's my 3rd and final action. Put a card on the top of your deck to return this card. So I have to put a card from my hand on top of my deck. So I am going to put Henry the Horter on top of my deck to return this card. Now, returning an incident means putting it on the bottom of the incident deck. That's great. That gets rid of it. But in addition, it says you may promote a person from your staging area to be your duty officer. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to return the Red Alert incident, and we're going to promote Will Riker from my staging area to be my duty officer. Now, at this point, I just want to talk a little bit, because some of you might be a little bit confused, because I said earlier that I could have used the Enterprise to promote a person from your hand to duty officer. Yet what I've done is I've just promoted it from my staging area. That's because I used the ability of the Red Alert card. So I'm just going to go over this again a little bit in detail. There are 2 ways that this deck can promote somebody to be a duty officer. There is either using the ability of the Enterprise D, which promotes them from your hand to become the duty officer, or you can play the card, which is exactly what I did, which means they go to the staging area. Then I can play Red Alert, take them from the staging area, and put them in play as the duty officer. So yeah, 2 ways of getting a card to be your duty officer. Now, Will Riker has quite a lot of text on him, but just to clarify, the playability is only when you play the card from your hand. So now that Will Riker is in play as my duty officer, we can ignore all of that text at the top. He now has these abilities here. I get that automatically in the resupply step, and I could activate him to do these things. So I can free play a ship with Starfleet if I had one in my hand, which basically means not using an action, or I can draw a ship from my discard pile. And to do either of those things, I would need to tap or exhaust Will Riker. I can't do either of those because I don't have any of those. Johnny telling us what Indri 8 is. Indri 8 was one of the planets where the DNA was seeded throughout the galaxy by the ancient race of common humanoid ancestors. Right, okay, that one, I see. Next Generation, Series 5 or Series 6, I think it was. Yep, I know the ones you mean. The Progenitors. Rings a bell. Anyway, we've used our 3 actions, but thankfully, I still have 1 card left in hand, which doesn't cost an action to play. Now, it does mean that I have to spend 1 dilithium to do it. I don't have any dilithium, but you can always use glory as if it was 2 dilithium. And this is what I'm going to do. But you don't get change. So I don't exchange this for 2 dilithium and then spend it. I actually use it and I lose the extra dilithium. But I'm going to do it because it gets me to draw 2 cards, discard one of them, and gain an influence. So I'm going to draw 2 cards. I'm going to discard one of them. Okay, and then I'm going to gain 1 influence. Because cycling through your deck is really important. That is it. That is the end of my actions. So now we do cleanup. Now, the special rules for the cleanup step in the solo cadet training mode is that at the start of the cleanup step, I wipe one of the cards from the market, and if it had tokens on it, it still goes. So I need to look at these and decide which one of these I'm not particularly interested in, which is this one. So I'm going to put that in the junk pile, which is going to be there. That gets replaced immediately. We have an unstable wormhole. And then what I do is I take the top counter from here, which is a glory token, and I put it on one of these. And I'm going to put it on the allies because that is a card that I am going to be taking at some point during the game. And essentially, if you gain a card that has any glory on it, you get that glory. So that's it. That's the cleanup step. Then discard and draw. Any cards that are in your staging area go to your discard pile. You may then choose to discard any number of cards from your hand. Do I want to? Yes, I do. I'm going to discard that. Or you could keep them in hand for the next turn. Then what we do is we draw up. So my hand size is 5. I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to interact with the top card of my deck, and I don't have a deck, which means we are cycling through our deck for the first time. So we take our discard pile, we shuffle it, we make a new deck, we then take the top card from our reserves, put it onto our deck, and then that is the card that I draw. So I now have 5 cards in hand, one of which is Data, which is a card that's from my reserve. There you go. That is the end of the first round or first turn of the game. And off we go. So, next round or turn, whatever it is. So rounds and turns are the same when it's a solo game. The first thing we do is we do a resupply action. And if you remember what I said, Will Riker has a resupply action, which is to discard the top card of my deck and gain 1 Latinum. Now, any Star Trek fans watching will know what that represents. And even though I'm not going to give you any opinions or my opinions on this game, what I will tell you is the amount of thematic detail that has gone into every single card in this game. David's knowledge of Star Trek is absolutely incredible. And if you look into each of these abilities on every single card, there is a thematic reason for those abilities. And any Star Trek fans watching will understand what Riker getting Latinum at the start of the round actually means. Right, so that's the resupply step. Next is the control step. Do I have 3 tokens on one of the neutral planets? No, I don't. So we go into my actions. Right, I've got 3 actions available. What do we want to do? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play Farpoint Station. So Farpoint Station is a location that starts off in the Picard deck. So I could have had this on turn 1 of the game if I was lucky enough to draw it, but I didn't, but I've got it now. It's an action to play it, so I have to use one of my action tokens to play it. And what I do is I take control of this location. So by playing it, I take control of it. And when I control it, as an immediate effect, I gain 1 research. So what happens is controlled locations go here. So your captain goes here with the ships next to your captain. Your duty officer goes there, and all of your controlled locations go next to your duty officer. So I now control Farpoint Station, and as an immediate bonus for controlling it, my research goes up by 1. Now, Farpoint Station has an activation ability on it that I will just show you. He says, scrolling up, there you go. So I can, once per turn, activate Farpoint Station by turning it sideways. And it says, if you have an away team here, draw a card. So there's no point me doing it now because I don't get any bonus. But then it says, if you have 3 or more total away teams spread across your controlled locations, I draw an extra card. So one of the benefits of this deck, and this is one way that you can play this deck, is by getting lots of away teams on your locations and keep exhausting Far Point Station every round or every turn to draw 2 cards. I did that in my warm-up game earlier on. It was really good. So I need to try and get an away team to this location if I can. But that's my first action done. Right. What are we going to do next? Do we do that? Yeah. Oh, maybe we do that. Maybe we do that instead. Right. How are we going to get... I'm trying to remember how I got an away team to there. I did it with a previous card. Right. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to play Set a Course, and I'm going to use the bottom ability to draw a card and then discard a card and then warp up to 2 of your ships. So drawing a card is easy. We know how that works. I draw a card, I put it into my hand. Then I have to discard a card. So which of these cards am I not going to play this turn? I could go for this early. Oh, no, I can't, because that's going to... No. Right, we're going to get rid of that. That's an amazing card, but it's too early for that. And then warp up to 2 of your ships. So warping a ship means taking the little standee, and whenever you deploy a ship, you find the appropriate standee and you put it on there. Normally you would have it stood up, but obviously for the overhead camera, we're going to have it like that. Warping means I can send it to any location. I can send it to any of my controlled locations. I can also send it to any of the neutral locations. I'll need to read up on the rules for the 2-player game to see if I can send it to my opponent's controlled locations. I'm not sure if we can. Nigel will tell us in the chat if that is possible. But for now, we don't have an opponent. So do I want to send this to Far Point Station? The advantage of me sending it to Far Point Station is that I might then be able to send away teams there because I've got a ship there. Or do we want it to go to Indri 8? I'm going to go to Indri 8. So I've now got 2 tokens on Indri 8. If I can get 1 more, I'm going to take control of that location. That's it. So I drew a card, I discarded a card, and I warped up to 2 of my ships. And that wasn't an action. So what was the action? Oh, the action was playing Far Point Station. Right. I've got 2 actions left. And I have cards in hand. Okay. Oh, I should have done that. So many options. We've also got Riker can free play a Starfleet ship. So I've got a card here which will allow me to gain a ship. But that's not a Starfleet ship. That could be a Starfleet ship. I don't know. Let's maybe not do that. We don't have any dilithium. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play Analyze for its bottom ability, which is simply not an action, but I gain 2 dilithium. So I gain 2 of these lovely nice pink crystals. I gain them. So I've still got 2 actions left, and I do have 2 cards in hand. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is... Oh, this is tricky. I'm going to play Utilize, and I'm going to play Utilize for the top effect, which is to gain 1 dilithium and 2 more for each controlled location you have in play. So I'm going to get 3 more. And the reason why I'm taking this is because I know that I'm going to need dilithium and latinum to buy these development cards when they come out. That was an action. I have 1 more action left, and I have data in hand. So data, when played for an action, is very simple. I gain 1 research, 1 influence, or 1 military. So I'm going to take the research. There you go. Nigel has confirmed your ships can warp to a location that you control or a location in the neutral zone. Great. Thank you very much, Nigel. So when we play the 2-player game later on today, or even against the bot, you cannot warp your ships to locations controlled by other players. Okay, that is the end of my turn. So we go to cleanup. I am going to junk a card in the market, because that's what you do in the cadet training mode. There's too much text on that. I'm going to get rid of that one. It's probably a really good card. But we'll get a new one. It's the Pack-Led Freighter. Right, and then we're going to put this on here. Now, I'm going to be putting glory counters on this card because I know that I'm going to take this card. when you're playing a multiplayer game of this, you can't just load up a card with glory counters, because then the other player will take it. So you've got to be very careful about where you place the glory counters. Right. Place glory, discard and draw. So all of those cards go. I have no cards in hand to carry over. We draw up. So 1, 2, 3. I need 2 cards to draw, and I do not have a deck, which means off we go again. So that goes there. I take the top card from my reserve and put it there. And now I need to draw 2 cards. Ooh, first contact. Okay, that's it. That is the end of round 2. Get my actions back. Round 3. Resupply. Discard the top card of my deck. Get some Latinum. Control. I do not control it. I don't have an extra token there. So we need to try and sort that out this round if we can. And now we are in the actions. So what are we going to do? Well, this is really interesting, because I am doing things that I have never done before. Right, this is this is one thing about this game is the way things come out, you will end up doing different things. So this is a card. Worf is a card which starts off in Captain Picard's deck at the start of the game. And I've managed to gain this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend one of my actions to play the Horter. And it says junk a card from the market. So I'm going to get rid of a card from the market. We'll do that in a second. You may log an attack to enlist a development. So we've got 3 new words here that we haven't seen. Junk, log, and enlist. And let's go through them one at a time. Junk. And again, there is a handy reference card here. It is to take 1 card from here and put it in the junk pile. I believe, and again, Nigel will correct me if I'm wrong, but with junk, as opposed to wipe, you cannot remove a card with tokens on it. I'm just going to double check that. Junk. Choose a face-up card from the market and put it in the junk pile. You may never junk a card with a token on it. Yes, I got it right. So I am going to junk the Packlet Freighter. Right, so that's the first new keyword that we've learned, junk. The second keyword we're about to learn is log. So it says you may log an attack. So when you see this, this is known as a trait. And you will see on all of the cards, there are 1 or more traits. So Worf, for example, he is a Klingon, he's in security, he's in Starfleet, and he likes attacking people. So what that means is these are his traits. And this says you may log an attack. This is an attack card. And I'm going to. And when you log a card, it's the captain's log. So what you do when you log a card is you're effectively removing it from the game, but it still counts as one of your cards for scoring. So if it had points on it, you would still score those points. But what you do to log a card, you put it underneath your captain, and that is the captain's log. So basically, Worf has retired. The card is gone from my game, which essentially means I can't ever use that card again. But what it has done is it's removed a card from my deck, which means I'm going to be cycling through my deck faster. And the final keyword that we've just learned is enlist a development. Now, remember the development cards that we had here, the super powerful cards that you don't get until later in the game? Well, I'm going to get one right now because of the power of this card. So what we do is we look through my developments. This has never happened before. And I can take any one of these by paying the cost that's printed on the bottom. And again, you've got all sorts of different options about the way that you're going to play the game. And I don't really know at the moment which way I'm going to go with this. So I think, do we do that? I might take the Daystrom Institute. Yeah, I'm going to take the Daystrom Institute. Something different. So I have to pay 3 dilithium and 1 latinum. So I pay 3 dilithium, I pay 1 latinum. There you go. And I now take this card, and enlist means put it on top of your deck. That's what enlist means. So I'm going to put my development cards back there. Remember, the order of the development cards doesn't matter because you can always choose which one you want. Put the reserve cards on top. Okay. And then finally, there is one other word on here which says deploy this card. So this is not a card which is going to stay in my staging area and then get discarded. It actually says deploy the card. So that is now in play. So I've made friends with Henry the Horter, and Henry the Horter has a reaction printed on him. So it requires a research of 4. If my research was 4, then whenever I would gain dilithium, I can exhaust the Horter to gain 2 more. Again, all very, very thematic if you remember the episode from the original series where they met the Horter and Spock had to mind meld with it. Anyway, that's my first action. Wow. Okay, we've got a lot going on here. I need to try and get my research up to 4. How are we going to do that? Well, I've got the Daystrom Institute on top of the deck. Is there any way that I can get... Is that a Starfleet ship? It's not a Starfleet ship. Okay, I kind of really want a Starfleet ship. There might be one on the top of the deck. I'm not sure. I really want to get another away team there so I can take control of that location. How am I going to get another away team there? I don't have the cards to do that at the moment, which means I am going to get those cards soon. I could beam something to the Enterprise. This is another thing. I might not go into this yet. Beaming cards to ships is a whole other level to the game. We might miss that for now. Okay, I'm going to play Diplomacy. I'm going to spend 1 dilithium. This is not an action. I'm going to draw 2 cards. I'm going to discard one of them, which will be data. And then I gain an influence. And oh look, I've now drawn the Daystrom Institute. So let's just have a look. This is a super powerful card that I've just got. It's Starfleet, it's Android, it's got 2 research tags on it. When I play it for an action, I take control of it. And when I take control of it, I may scan for a synthetic. And then once it's in play, I can activate it to find a synthetic and gain glory. Or I could use it to draw a card. This is amazing. This is going to be so good, this card. And at the end of the game, I'm going to get 1 point for every single one of my synthetics. So I am definitely spending an action to play the Daystrom Institute. And as I play it, I take control of it. And the effect of doing that is I may scan for a synthetic. So let's explain scanning. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking, every 5 minutes, Paul is telling us a new keyword, don't worry. We've literally covered 2/3 of them already. So there's not that many more. Scanning. There's 2 types of scanning in this game. You can scan for a person or a cargo or a ship or an ally. Or you could scan for a particular trait. And this says scan for a synthetic. So when you scan for a synthetic, and I'm just going to absolutely double check this in the rules because it caught me out this morning and I just want to make sure I get this right. When you scan for a trait, what you do is you look at the market to see if there are any visible cards in the market that have the trait synthetic. Are any of these synthetic? They're not. If they were, then I would gain one of those cards and place it either on top of my deck or on top of my discard pile, because that's what gain means. But because none of these have synthetic, then what I can do is I can choose one of these decks, which are known as suits, and I can reveal cards from the top of that deck until I find a card with the indicated trait. Now, you might be thinking, well, if you don't know this game, how the heck are you supposed to know where the synthetics are? Well, they've thought of that, and they've given you an entire list of all of the cards in the game and what the traits are. I'm just going to have a quick look at this. Let's look through the allies. Are there any synthetics in the allies deck? No, there are not. What about the ships? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing there are no synthetics in the ships. No, there aren't. What about cargo? Any synthetics in the cargo? Nope. No synthetics in the cargo. People, yes, there definitely is. So we have B4 is in there as a synthetic. That might be it for this. Oh no, the Peanut Hamper and Moriarty. So there are 3 cards in this deck which are synthetics. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan for one of them. So I'm going to choose this deck. And I'm going to look through until we find a synthetic. There's definitely one in there somewhere. Right, we found B4. So then what happens? Let me just double check this. So this is scanning for a trait. Specify suit. Reveal cards from the top of the suit's deck until a card with the indicated trait to be found is gained. Place it on top of your draw deck or your discard pile. Shuffle the other remaining cards you revealed into the corresponding deck. If you didn't find one, then you could specify one of the other 3 decks and look through them. And if you don't find one of the cards anywhere, you get 2 glory instead. So we have found B4, and I'm going to put him on my discard pile. And remember, my end of game bonus for Daystrom Institute is that I get 1 point for every synthetic card that I have. So that's obviously the strategy, or one of the parts of the strategy that I'm going to use in this game. I'm going to try and get as many synthetics as I can. Right, yes, the Peanut Hamper is in this, which is awesome. So we've still got 1 action left, and we haven't activated Will Riker. We haven't activated the Enterprise. We haven't activated Farpoint, but we can't because we don't have an awaiting there. We haven't activated the Daystrom Institute. Oh, wow. I've just noticed something. There's a big combo going off here between the Daystrom Institute and B4. I'm not going to use that. I could. I totally could. So Daystrom Institute has an ability where I can activate it to find a synthetic. When you find a card, that means look through your hand, your discard pile, your deck, and also your reserves. I believe find includes draw deck, discard pile, hand, draw deck, discard pile, or reserve deck. So I could use the Daystrom Institute to find a synthetic. I don't think I've got a synthetic here. No, Beverly Crusher is not a synthetic. But if I did that, I would gain a glory. And basically what I can do is I can take B4 from my discard pile, or I could find data from my deck. Or I could just use it to draw a card. I'm gonna use it to find a synthetic. So I'm gonna find a synthetic. No, he's not there. Where is he? Where did data go? Is he in my discard pile? I've not sent him to Riser, have I? Oh, he's there. He's there in my discard pile. So maybe we don't do that. Maybe we draw a card instead. What do we do? Or do we... There's so many options. There are so many options. I think I'm going to play it simple. I'm just going to activate the Daystrom Institute to draw a card. Right. Okay. So I've got 1 action left. And I'm still looking for another ship. I could gain the... Oh, I could gain that. Let's do it. I'm going to play Analyze. I'm going to discard 2 cards, because I don't want these anyway, to gain a cargo. So I could gain the Unstable Wormhole, or I could take the card off the top of the deck. The question is, I mean, it's worth 2 points, which is okay, but am I going to use the ability? I mean, possibly. If I can get my influence up to 6, that's what that means. That means that it requires 6 influence for me to be able to play that card. Yeah, I think I'm going to take it. I'm going to take... Again, I've never taken this card before, so I'm going to take it. And this is gain, isn't it? Yes, gain a cargo, so I'm going to put it onto here. John's asking a question, how many cards in this game? I would have to look in the rulebook for how many cards are actually included in this game. because there are 6 decks, each of which has 24 or 26 cards, and there are 67 cards in the common market, and there's 8 encounters, 20 locations, 6 incidents, and then there's some Stardate cards and something else. I'm not sure of the exact number, but it's probably about 250-ish, something like that. That was that third action. So I think that's me done. I've got no cards in hand. I haven't done this. So do I want to do that? No, I don't think I want to do this. And I can't do that, and I can't do that, and I can't. I'm playing these very, very differently. By this point in my practice game this morning, I already had like 2 allies. We haven't got any at the moment. And I also had loads of glory, and I've got none. So we're done. We go to clean up. Why did I put that face down? I should have put that face up. It's the Borg Spatial Trajector. Am I bothered about that? Yeah, no, there's a lot of text on that. So we'll junk that one. Sorry, we'll wipe that one. We'll put a new one into play. It's the Hollow Suite. And we're going to put another counter on the Binars. I'm going to get them. At some point, I'm going to get them. But that is it. That is the end of turn 3. So we go to clean up. We've put a glory on. I'm discarding. I have no cards in hand to keep. So 1, 2. I do like having a small deck and drawing lots of cards. So 1, 2. Top card from my reserve goes there. 3, 4, 5. Okay, next round. Resupply. Discard the top card of my deck to gain some Latinum. Control, no, not yet. But this is the turn. This is the turn I'm going to try and get hold of that location. He says, yes, I've got it. I've got the Type 7 shuttlecraft. Nice. And we've got B4. And we've... Oh, right. Okay. Options are now... Yeah. We have lots of options now. I have got a really nice card here. How am I doing for dilithium? I haven't got much dilithium. Going to need more. We're definitely going to need more dilithium. So... Let's do that. Let's do that. Right. I'm going to play the Type 7 shuttlecraft. So the Type 7 shuttlecraft, as an action, is to send an away team to a location where you have a ship. And if I wanted to, I could put this card on top of my deck. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it there. But I'm going to send an away team to here. Brian is asking what the endgame trigger is. The endgame trigger in the solo cadet training mode is 11 turns. And that is tracked by these tokens here. Once 5 have gone, we go to the second Stardate card, and then another 5 go, it empties, and then we get 1 more turn. Or, if the incident deck empties, the burn happens, and I lose the game. Let's try and make sure that doesn't happen. Again, this is just a cadet training mode to get you used to your deck. So it's 11 turns. And you could probably play it in about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Obviously, I'm explaining the rules as we go, so it's going to be different. Oh, wow, that's amazing. He's really good. B4's great. He goes and gets cargo from the junk. So I just play it and get a card. Anyway, right, stop getting too excited. Concentrate. I am going to take control of that at the start of the next round. There's nothing I can do to get it earlier, because there is a card in that deck that allows me to get it earlier, but I don't have that yet. So I'm not bothered about that. I'm not really bothered about that. We still need a Starfleet ship. Ah, right. No, I think, yeah, I've got a plan. I have a plan, he says. So what we're going to do is... Oh, do we use the Daystrom Institute just to draw a card? Or do we go and... we could find data. So B4 is in my hand. Or do we just use it to draw a card? Because I don't really need data right now. Yeah, we're just going to use the Daystrom Institute to draw a card. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Because we're going to have to take this soon. Because all of these cards are going to wipe once Stardate 1 has finished. Right, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play Utilize, and I'm going to do the second ability on Utilize. Oh, the shuttle is Starfleet. Oh, of course. Yes. So Riker. Ah, okay. Thank you very much for that. Just spotted. Let's just hang on. Let's just undo. Let's have a look at Will Riker's ability. So I'm going to have a slight undo on this. Will Riker's ability is I can activate him to free play a ship with Starfleet. Now, what free play means is do the play, but without spending the action. So in other words, I could activate Will Riker to play this shuttlecraft without spending an action. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Slight undo. Thank you very much for spotting that. There you go. Right, so I played that without spending an action. And that is because Will Riker is a very good pilot. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we were playing Utilize. We are going to use an action for this, and this is to gain on one speciality track for each matching skill icon you have in play, excluding beamed cards. So this is the point in the game where we need to explain to you, and I did mention this briefly earlier on, but we have these tags on the side of cards. So we've got 2 research tags on here. There's one on here. The Enterprise is a wild, so it can actually be used as any of the 3. I don't have any others at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose research. And I have 4 research icons, which means I move 4 spaces up on my research track, which is awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, which means my Horta ability is now active. So yeah, so that was really good. I've played that card. I've moved 4 steps up on this. That's going to hopefully help lots of things. Right. Next. Do we want to do that? Do we want to do that? I don't need to do that. Okay, well, I'm going to play Analyze. It's not an action. I'm going to gain 2 dilithium, but I'm going to react to that. So a reaction ability means that you activate it at the point when the triggering effect happens. And this says requires 4 research, which I have. After gaining dilithium, which I did, gain an additional 2 dilithium. Right, well, that's the dilithium situation sorted. I've still got 2 actions left. Well, do we want to do this? The problem is, if I take control of that location, what's going to happen is the ship is going to get dismissed. So, yeah, taking control of a location. All of the away teams are removed and the ships are dismissed. So, remember, Picard's mission is to have 3 allies on the same ship. And if I start beaming them to that ship early, when that ship takes control of this planet, the ship is going to get dismissed, which means the allies that were on it are also going to go to my discard pile. They're not lost, but I kind of don't want to take allies just yet. I think I can hold off one more turn. So, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to play B4. So I'm going to play B4, and I'm going to use it for the top ability. So it's going to cost me one of my actions to gain a cargo from the junk. So literally, I can look through the junk pile, and one of these cargoes that I was getting rid of that I decided I didn't want that card, I can now have that card. It's worth 2 points, so sure, I'll take it. I kind of don't want the card in my deck though, because it's fattening my deck up and it's going to slow me down. I'm going to try and find a way to get rid of it, if I can. I don't think I can, but we'll see. I've got 1 action left. And I'm going to play Set a Course. I'm going to draw a card and then discard a card. And I can warp up to 2 of my ships. I'm not going to. And then I'm going to play this Unstable Wormhole. So I've never played this card before, but I look at the top 2 locations or the top 2 encounters and put them on the top and or the bottom of their deck in any order. Oh, and then I draw a card. Well, that's amazing. Now, encounters. We've not covered encounters yet, but you may be wondering what this deck here is. This deck is Encounters. These are very powerful cards that are worth a lot of points, and they're really hard to get. There are multiple ways in the game that you can get them, but they're always quite difficult to do. The deck, the Picard deck, it's the Strange New Worlds card that I've been discarding every time I've drawn it because I'm not in a position yet to be able to play it. But I am actually going to look at the top 2 cards of this deck, and I get to put them on top or bottom in any order. So these are the cards, and you can see this one, it's worth 7 points. This one is worth a variable number of points depending on your military. Now, the Picard deck doesn't really have much ways of improving my military, so I definitely don't want that one. Do I want this one? Yeah, I mean it's Chakare. I think I'm going to put this on top and the other one on the bottom. So that goes on the bottom, and that one goes on top. Right, let me just check the chat. Set a course, draw effect doesn't take an action. Yes. Did I use an action? I did use an action. Thank you for that. It wasn't an action. And neither does Unstable Wormhole. So I've still, yeah, thank you very much. I still have an action left. Unfortunately, I don't have any cards. Oh no, it's draw a card. The Unstable Wormhole effect is to draw a card. Does the ship count as an away team? The ship does not count as an away team. It is a token, though. It is a token. Yeah. So I will take control of this because I have 3 tokens, but the ship is not an away team. Okay. Well, let's play diplomacy. Again, I could do an action to gain an ally, but I think I'm going to just hang fire on that. I'm going to spend a dilithium to draw 2 cards and discard one of them. Let's discard that one, and then we're going to play Data. So my final action in the game is to play Data, and I'm going to improve one of these tracks, and it's going to be the Influence track. There you go. Farpoint Station only looks for away teams on itself. Yes. Oh, you're thinking, could I warp the ship here and then use that to draw cards? You can't. No, it has to be actually people down on the planet. Right, we're done. Cleanup step. Which of these cards do I want to get rid of? I'm going to get rid of the Dakir Cruiser. And we've drawn the Sona Battle Cruiser. And then I'm going to put this on the Binars. And then I'm going to unexhaust all of my cards. I'm going to discard these. And I'm going to draw. Except I don't have any cards in my deck. So I shuffle my discard pile, make a new deck. And I'm going to take my final reserve card. Now, Picard's reserve deck is only 4 cards. Some of the other captains do have much more cards in their reserve. So it will be longer before they get to their development cards. But the next time that I cycle through my deck, I'm going to start getting these juicy cards here. Right. Exciting times. Because we have the next round. Oh no, I need to draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Now it's the next round. Resupply. I'm going to discard the top card of my deck. It is Data. Data gets beaten at poker. And Riker earns some Latinum. Then we have the control step. So, again, you need to have at least 3 tokens on there. And you need to have 2 more than your opponent. And in this solo cadet training mode, my opponent has 1. Which means I control this location. So the away teams come back. The ship gets dismissed. Which means the token is returned to the supply. And the Enterprise is going to go to my discard pile. And then I control this location, which means I put it into play here. And it has a control effect that I gain another action. Now that's just for this turn. It's not permanent. But for this turn, I'm going to have 4 actions. And that's more icons. And it's 5 points. That's awesome. Right, the new location that's come out. Where have we got? We have Riser. Nice. So when you control Riser, you can basically send a load of people to it. Beam a load of people to Riser, and then you can gradually bring them back from there. Which is cool. Right, so that's the control step done. We now go into the action step. I've got 4 actions for this turn. We've got Beverly Crusher, we've got Strange New Worlds, we've got a Type 7 shuttlecraft. Now, this is where we need to use Will Riker's ability because the Enterprise was dismissed. The Enterprise is here. So we are going to use Will Riker's ability to draw a ship from my discard pile. I'm going to draw the Enterprise into my hand. I am then going to use an action, and we'll just get rid of it, to play the Enterprise. Now, when you play the Enterprise, I can deploy it, and then I can warp it, or I can beam a card here. I am going to warp the Enterprise to Farpoint Station. So the Enterprise is now at Farpoint. You'll like this, because now I'm going to spend an action to play the Type 7 shuttlecraft, and I am going to send an away team to a location where you have a ship. Pop. I can put this card on top of my deck if I want to. I'm going to choose not to. Okay. Next, I control Farpoint Station, which means I can activate it. I'm actually, rather than exhausting the card, I'm just going to put one of these on it to show that I have activated it this turn. And that allows me to draw a card. So every round I can now use Farpoint Station to draw a card. And I can also use Daystrom Institute. And I am to also draw a card. Yeah, my card drawing now is pretty good. Right, I've got 2 actions left. Now we want to start looking at getting these encounters, which we can do, but that would log Farpoint Station. We want to be gaining allies. That's what we want to do now. We've got the ship out. The ship is there. We now need to be gaining allies. So here we go. I've been saving up for this, and we're almost there. Yeah, okay. Let's do it. Let's play Recruit. So Recruit is an action, and it says take an incident. So take is another keyword, and it means put it straight into your hand. So I take an incident, it goes straight into my hand. In order to gain an ally, we're going to gain the Binars. So I gain all of this glory. That's all mine. And when you gain a card, you can either put it on top of your deck or put it on your discard pile. I'm going to put it on my discard pile. But at this point, we're now going to show you how good Captain Picard is. Captain Picard has a reaction ability. So after gaining an ally, which is what I've just done, I can discard a card from my hand to gain a glory, and I may beam the gained card to a ship. So instead of the Binars going to my discard pile, what happens is I discard a card to gain a glory, and I beam them straight onto the ship. So let's talk about beamed cards. When you beam a card to a ship or a location, you tuck it underneath like this. Its traits are still active. So I still have an alien and I still have an engineer, but anything else on the card is not there. It doesn't apply. Only the traits. There's a reason. There's a few reasons why you need to beam cards to ships. First of all, that card is now out of my deck, which means I'm going to be cycling through my deck quicker. But also remember my mission. My mission is to have 3 allies on the same ship. Right. So Nigel is just confirming, yes, to control a location, you need to have at least 3 tokens and at least 2 more than your opponent. And once you've got that, you control the location. If we were playing a multiplayer game, then the other player would gain glory for each token that they had on the planet when you gained control of it. So there's a little bit of compensation for them being there. And yes, beamed cards are not tokens. So specifically to control a location, you need tokens. Right. So we've gained the Binars. The Binars are now aboard the Enterprise. They came with a whole bunch of glory. The Halcon Counselor has been revealed. We've used that, we've used that, we've used that. We haven't used this. We've used Jean-Luc Picard. We've used his reaction ability as well. Wow, we've used a lot of these. So, one action. Oh, wow. I just read the Borg spatial trajector. That is amazing. That is amazing, but I can't use it right now. I don't think I can use it now. No. Or can I? Maybe I can. Requires 4 research. Select up to 3 persons from your hand or discard pile. Well, I've got 2. For each, either beam it to a ship or put it on top of your deck to send an away team to a location. That's really good. Okay. I mean, this is fun. We're going to do this. We are totally going to do this. Or do we do that instead? Oh no, that's even better. Right. I'll tell you what I was going to do. I was going to play the Borg spatial trajector. I could have selected 3 people from my hand or discard pile. So we were going to take Beverly Crusher from my hand. We were going to take Data from my discard pile. And I was going to put them both on top of my deck to send 2 away teams to Riser. Then I was going to activate the USS Enterprise to spend a dilithium to warp the Enterprise to Riser, which means I would take control of it at the start of my next turn. That's what I was going to do. Do I still do that? Or do I do something different? No, let's do it. Let's do it, because it's fun. Right, we're going to play the Borg spatial trajector. So, requires 4 research. I have 4 research. Select up to 3 persons from your hand or discard pile. Beverly Crusher and Data. They're going on holiday together to Riser. Well, no, I don't know where. They're using the Borg spatial trajector. For each one, I can beam it to a ship. So I could beam these to the Enterprise, but there's no point doing so, except to get them out of my hand. For each, beam them to a ship or put them on top of your deck. So I'm going to put them on top of my deck in order to send an away team to a location. So I'm actually going to send 1 away team to Riser. And shall we do it? Yeah, we'll send another away team to Riser. Okay. Then, oh no, but if I do that, I'm going to lose the binars. Oh. Ugh. I just realised that I'm going to lose the binars if I do this. Because I'll take control of the location and the binars will get discarded. Are we okay with that? I think we're okay with that. So I'm going to activate the Enterprise. I'm going to spend a dilithium to warp the ship from Farpoint to Riser. There you go. I mean, that was fun. What else have we got? We have Analyze to gain 2 dilithium. And then I'm going to exhaust the Horter to gain 2 more dilithium. That's great. That is a really good card. I've got no actions left. I have 2 cards in hand, both of which require an action. So that is my go done. We are now cleaning up. Which one of these do we want to get rid of? Let's get rid of the ship. It's the USS Pasteur. Okay, right. It is a Starfleet ship. Is it any good? Yes, it's good for me because it will score points based on how far I am up my research track. So I'm going to put the glory on there. Okay, the first Stardate card is emptied. What that means is at the beginning of my next cleanup step, so at the end of turn 6, we're going to wipe this and we're going to wipe this unless there are tokens here. If there's any tokens of mine on here, we don't wipe it. But here, we do wipe it, even if there's tokens on it. That's going to happen at the end of the next cleanup step. So I think we leave that there for now. Yes, we leave that there for now. Right. Whew. So we've resolved the Stardate. We've put the glory on. We're going to discard and draw. Now, I've got 2 cards in hand. I'm going to keep that one in hand because that's a really good card. But that one I'm going to get rid of. So I'm drawing 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now my deck started to slow down a bit because I've got loads of cards. Okay, we're good. Oh, taking control is not mandatory. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's not mandatory. I think I still want to. We'll see what we've got. Have I got 2 ways of getting... No, I don't. Oh, I've got 1. If I had another way of getting an ally, maybe I could actually do that mission right now. No, I think I'm gonna gain control of it. So, next round, resupply. Riker's going to do a bit of gambling. We're going to gain some latinum. And we are going to control the location. So that gets returned. That gets dismissed. That gets dismissed. The away teams go back. And I now control Riser. Okay, we've run out of space here. So I'm going to have to put Riser here. Oh, we'll put it here and we'll put the Horta here. Okay, there, that's mine. So I now control Riser. And when I control it, I find up to 3 persons except for my reserve deck. So, well, let's have a look. Nope, they're all in my hand. I mean, have I got any here? No, I don't have any here. Don't forget to remove your activation tokens. Oh, thank you. Yep. There you go. So I'm going to find 3 people. We're going to find Data, Beverly Crusher, and B4. I mean, this is a soap opera right here, right now. Data, B4, and Beverly Crusher are off on holiday to Riser. So it says, find up to 3 persons except from your reserve deck and beam them here. So they have all been beamed to Riser. So yeah, my deck is now smaller. Now, once per turn, I can activate Riser to recall a card. Another keyword, recall. It means take them from there and put them back into my hand. Bring them back and gain some money. That's what I can do. Now, I have very few cards in hand. So, what are we going to do? We don't have the Enterprise, but we do have Will Riker again. So, we're going to do... Yeah, are we into the actions? Oh, we need another deck. Baku has come out. It's an anomaly. Is that any use to me? Oh, that's really good. Okay, right. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Will Riker. Right, let's use the token. So we'll use Will Riker to draw a ship from my discard pile, which will be the Enterprise. Then, that's not an action, we will spend an action to play the Enterprise. Keeps coming back. And we're going to warp it to Farpoint Station. Yes, we're going to warp it to Farpoint Station. That's totally what we're going to do. We're then going to activate Farpoint Station to draw a card. We're then going to activate Daystrom Institute to draw a card. Have I got it? Have I got it? No, I haven't. Is that because it's in here? Oh, it's in there. Rats. Okay, right. Then... Oh, it's all still good. Right, then we're going to play Utilize again. So this is an action. And are we going to move up the blue track again? Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 research icons. So I could go up 5. If I chose yellow, I'd get 3. Now, 5's better than 3. I'm going to choose research. So yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I go up 5 points. I've now got 11 research. Wow. I forgot to pay the action for warping. Did I? Did I forget to add a new card from the Picard? Right, hang on. So, did I pay for warping of the ship? Right, when was that? When was that? So let's just have a look at the Enterprise. If this is what you mean, when you play the Enterprise, you deploy it and warp it at no cost. So I think... Oh, did you mean I forgot to pay that action? I thought I did pay that action. So it's not an action to warp the ship. It's an action to play the ship. So I'm just going to have a slight pause while I do check that I've played this correctly, because people watching in the chat are generally on top. I thought I used Will Riker, which is not an action, to get the Enterprise back, and then I used one action to play the Enterprise, and playing it allows me to warp it. I then drew a card and drew a card. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I think we're okay. Yeah, I did. Thank you very much for I'm pretty sure I've played the Enterprise and I've played Utilize. They are the two actions that I've done this turn. I've still got one action left. And I'm going to use the Unstable Wormhole, which is not an action. I'm going to look at the top two cards of this deck. Oh. Well. I might keep that. Oh, do I keep that? Do I keep that? Did I get a Borg thing? I got a Borg spatial trajectory, didn't I, somewhere? No, I'm going to keep that on top and I'm going to put that one on the bottom. And then draw a card. And I can't draw a card, so this is where we are going to cycle my deck. And this is where I'm now going to enlist a development. Okay. So, yes, I've used Riker, I've used Farpoint Station, and I've used the Daystrom Institute. I haven't used any of the other ones yet. Okay, so what are we going to buy? I think we're going to buy... Oh. I think we're going to buy the Tamarians. Tamarians are awesome. So I'm going to put that on top of my deck. And then I'm going to draw a card. Oh, look, it's the Tamarians. Now, I don't want to use this just yet. Oh, I have to pay 2 dilithium and I have to take an incident because it's a really good card. I don't think I want to play the Tamarians just yet. So, I need Strange New Worlds. It's in there somewhere. My Strange New Worlds card is in there. I want to keep... So, just to let you know, my Strange New Worlds card requires me to have a ship and an away team at the same location, and it has to be a location that I control. That's why I've now got the Enterprise there, an away team there, and I am waiting to draw that card. Do I have an ambassador in play? I don't believe I do. What do ambassadors look like? Ambassadors look like it's kind of a pink handshake. No, I don't. Right. So we could play this, but I don't know whether I... Okay, I'm going to play Set a Course because it's draw a card. It's not an action. Draw a card. Got it! Discard a card and warp up to 2 of my ships. Right, I'm going to discard a card. At this point, I'm going to discard first. Oh no. I'm going to discard Political Crisis. Okay, and I'm not going to warp 2 of my ships. And that wasn't an action. And now we have Strange New Worlds. Got it. Here we go. So this is an absolutely key card for this deck. It's going to cost me an action to play it. Select a controlled location. So I'm going to select Farpoint Station. If there is 1 or more away teams and 1 or more ships there, yes, look at the top 2 encounters, take 1 of them and return the other to the bottom of the deck, log the selected location and gain a research. So lots of information on there, but essentially I look at these top 2 cards. I choose 1 that I want to gain. Do I want to gain Shaka Ray or do I want to play the Boltzmann Brain? I'm now thinking I want this. So I'm going to take that. So that gets taken. Return the other to the bottom of the deck. Now, here's the thing. I log the selected location, which means Farpoint Station has gone. It has been logged. It is no longer in the game. And when you log a location, any ships that were there... this is the bit I can't remember. It's all in the rulebook. It's all here. Ships present are dismissed from a logged location and away teams are returned to the captain. So the ship is dismissed. There you go. It's gone. But that's it. That is how you get these encounter cards into play in your deck, and they are worth... I mean, that one was worth 6 points, but it has an awesome ability on it as well. we're done. I believe I don't have any other cards that I can play. Oh no, I can. The Boltzmann Brain is not an action to play, so I'm going to play it. I did tell you they were good. I draw a card. Okay, and you may return one incident. I should have kept it in hand. Okay, right. Oh, we are done. That is the end of that turn. So this is turn 6. And at the beginning of the cleanup step, we wipe all of the cards in the market. So, rats. Never mind. Those go on there. We get new ones. We've got Sukal. We've got the cloaking device. We have the USS Enterprise C. And we have Karema. And then we get rid of that. We put 5 tokens on it. And then we put one of those tokens on here. And I am going to put it on. Well, I know that I'm going to be gaining another ally. But I do want the Enterprise C. No, I'm going to put it on the ally. We wipe all of these because there are no tokens on them. So they all disappear. We've got regular 1. We've got Derna. And we have the Kelvastok. And I'm just going to show you these. For those of you that are Trekkies, again, you just look at these cards and you look at the abilities on them. And you can see, you know, exactly how much theme there is oozing out of every card in this game. Right. We have done the start of the cleanup step. We've done that. We've put a thing on. I'm now discarding and drawing. So I'm discarding those cards. I'm going to remove my action tokens. Do I want... I want to keep that. And I want... Oh, I've got the perfect 3 cards. So I'm going to keep these 3 cards in hand. And I'm just going to draw 2 more. Oh, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Hang on. Hang on. I don't have an Enterprise. But that's fine because Will Riker can go get the Enterprise and then I can play it. Yeah, no, we're all good. I'm going to get rid of that card. I'm going to keep these 2. So I'm going to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I can move my things up now because we've lost 5 points. Oh, I should have returned somebody from Riser. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Right. Next round. Resupply. We're going to discard the top card of the deck to gain some Latinum. Then we're going to control a location. No, we're not controlling a location. Now it's actions. Okay, so we need to get the Enterprise back. Again. Yeah, so we'll do the same thing again. We'll activate Will Riker in order to draw a ship from my discard pile. And we will draw the Enterprise. Then I will spend an action to play the Enterprise. And for free, I'm going to warp the Enterprise. Where are we going to send it? None of these are any good. They're not really worth it for me. So I don't know where we're going to warp it. Yeah. Okay. No, it's not. I don't know. Where do you think we should warp it? Well, let's warp it to Indri 8, because we could do another Strange New Worlds. Yeah. So, played an action, played the Enterprise, warped it to Indri 8. Okay. Next. Right, we need to start getting the allies, and we need to start beaming the allies to the Enterprise. Yes. Okay. This is how it works. So yeah, so one thing that you can do with the Enterprise is you can activate the Enterprise to discard a card from hand to your discard pile to beam a card here. So this is another way that you can beam cards here. Do we want to return somebody from Riser? Do I want one of these cards? Scan for a synthetic from the junk. Is there a... Oh, including from the junk. So we could use B4 to go and get Moriarty. Because I'm going to get points for synthetics because of the Daystrom Institute. So we could totally do that. So what's happening is... And again, this episode will be showing on Netflix next week. But B4, Data, and Beverly Crusher are on Riser. Data and B4 have had a bit of an argument because B4 ordered orange juice and Data gave him apple juice instead. So they've had a bit of a falling out. And I think B4 has gone off in a sulk and wants to come back from Riser. And I think that's what we're going to do. So we are going to activate Riser by putting a token on it to recall B4. So he comes back, still complaining about his orange juice, to my hand. And that gains me a Latinum. I think I've got too much Latinum in this game. I don't think it's worth anything at the end of the game. But anyway, we now have B4. And that's not an action. That's been activated. Right, we're then going to use the Daystrom Institute to draw a card. Right. Okay. I've got the Type 7 shuttlecraft. You know what that means? Strange New Worlds time again. So we're going to use the Type 7 shuttlecraft to send an away team to a planet where I have a thing. Yeah, where I have a ship. I may place this card on top of the deck. I'm not going to. I've got one action left. This is not good. I need more. I need more actions. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to activate the Enterprise. Sorry. I'm going to activate the Enterprise. I'm going to discard a card to beam the Tamarians to the Enterprise. So I have one ally on the Enterprise at the moment. I need to get that up to 4 as well. But I'm going to do that, and that wasn't an action. I am then going to play B4 as an action. And I am going to take an incident. To scan for a synthetic. So I'm going to scan in here for a synthetic. Come on, Moriarty. Oh, no, but I found the peanut hamper. Okay. So the peanut hamper, I have scanned for it, which means I gain it. So it can go on top of my deck, or it can go... How do I get that in play? Oh, it's a person. So, interestingly, the peanut hamper could be my duty officer. That's funny. That is funny. I'm going to put that on top of my deck. That's hilarious. Do we know when the game will be available? Not sure, I'm afraid. My rough guess would be December, but I don't know. I'm definitely not the person to ask. WizKids haven't officially announced it. All I know is that it is currently being printed. Whether it's been finished being printed and is now on boats, I'm not quite sure. But yes. Soon-ish. Right. Have I just accidentally shuffled my hand into this deck of cards? I think I have. I think I got a bit too excited and I think I've accidentally just shuffled my hand. Yep. Into this deck. So was there anything in here that I had? I don't think there was. None of these look familiar. No, Moriarty's still in there. Right, okay. Stop getting too excited, Paul. So, I've got no actions left. I have a few cards in hand. I have abilities that I haven't used yet. I've used that one. That doesn't have one. I've used that. I've used that. I've used that. Okay, we're just going to do this. I'll gain 2 dilithium and use Henry the Horter to gain another 2. So that's easy. That wasn't an action. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So we go to cleanup. We're going to put this... I'm going to wipe one of these. Don't really want a cloaking device. That's a bit rubbish for me. Tribbles! Yes. Right, and I'm going to put that on there. And discard and draw. So which of these cards do I want to discard? Well, I want to keep that one, but I am not bothered about those 2. So I'm going to keep that one card. And that means I'm going to draw 4 more. So 1, 2. Okay, time to get another card from my development pile. Okay, Deanna Troy, make it so. Now that's going to be worth 4 points because it's got a blue stripe in the corner and my research is currently at 4. Geordie LaForge is also blue research. The USS Bozeman, not so good for me. I have played this deck a very different way. I've gone with a military approach and it worked really well. It was interesting. That's going to be worth 2 points. That's going to be worth 2 points. I think I'm going to go for the points. I'm going to take Make It So. So that's going to cost me 3 dilithium. Yeah, it's fine. I've got loads of money. And that's going to go on top of my deck. And then I'm going to draw to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 development cards go there. Okay, next round. Resupply. Riker's going gambling. He's beaten B4 at poker. And control, no control. I have no control. So, this is the round where I want to try and complete this mission. I need to have 3 allies on that ship, and I can do it. I can absolutely do it. So, here's what we're going to do. We are going to activate the Daystrom Institute to draw a card. Just while I remember. I am going to bring back Beverly Crusher from Riser, which gets me some Latinum. I am going to activate the Enterprise. I'm going to discard a card in order to beam a card to the Enterprise, and I'm going to beam the Binars to the Enterprise. I just realised I need 4, don't I? Can I get 4? No, I can't. Rats. I can't actually do it. It's fine. I'll do it next time. I need 2 tracks at 4, and my influence is not at 4 yet. Right. So. May recall you. Oh, wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. Right, that's really interesting. Okay. That's really interesting. I've got a weird combo of things here. Yeah, okay. Right. Let's do it. This is fun. This is fun. I've never played this card before. I'm going to spend one of my actions to play the Peanut Hamper. So, and I'm going to use this ability here. So I gain 3 dilithium. I'm then going to react to that with the Horta to actually gain 5. So I gain 5 dilithium. I've got loads of dilithium. You may recall your duty officer. So Will Riker is... Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Will Riker to draw the Type 7 shuttlecraft from my discard pile. Right. Then I'm recalling Will Riker, and I can promote this card to be my duty officer. So the Peanut Hamper is now my duty officer, which means in the resupply step, I'm actually going to gain glory each turn, and it's got some abilities as well. It's more about the fact that I've got a Peanut Hamper as my duty officer, and that's quite good fun. But I'm going to gain a glory at the start of every turn as well, which is quite good. And Riker's back in my hand, which means I can now play Riker. I've got 2 actions left. Yeah. Okay, so I think I can do this. I really need one more influence. Yeah, okay. I think Do I want to take another incident? Oh, I don't know. Draw 2 cards from your discard pile. It would just be the one. You may spend a dilithium to send a weight into a location. If you targeted a control location, trigger that card's control operation. Yeah, no, I don't think I want to do that. Sorry about this. I'm just really thinking about what to do. And yes, these tokens here, I'm using these as exhaust tokens, just because it's easy for me to do them rather than exhausting the cards. Okay, I'm just going to do first contact. So first contact, scan 2 of ally. So we've not really seen this before, but I'm scanning 2 from the ally deck. Now what that means is I can look at the top 2 cards. I can then choose to gain one of these 2 cards or gain the visible one instead. So when you're scanning a particular deck, you look at the top X number of cards from that deck. You can have them if you want them, or you can take that one. And actually, I've got one that's really good. So I'm going to gain this one, and I'm going to choose to gain it to the top of my deck. The one that you don't choose goes to the bottom of the deck. Okay, and then this card is logged. So that goes in the captain's log like that. First contact is a one-off card only. So I've still got one action left. I can just draw a card. I don't think I have a way of drawing a card, because I've already used the Daystrom Institute. So no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put it on top of the deck. I am going to react. I'm going to use Jean-Luc Picard's reaction to put it onto the Enterprise. So the Bolians are now on the Enterprise, and I gain a glory. So I now have 3 allies on board the Enterprise. Unfortunately, my influence skill is not quite high enough. So I just need to get one more, and then my mission is complete. And that will get me some bonuses. Right, so one action left. What are we going to do? I need to be starting to return these incidents. I don't have any incidents in my discard pile. We can't warp the Enterprise because I've already activated it. I don't really want to take another incident. That's really good, but not now. That's quite good. Yeah, no, this is a bit tricky, actually. So the other use for the Type 7 shuttlecraft, I can gain a dilithium and either beam a card to a ship or recall a card beamed to a ship. Okay. And then play it. Yeah, I don't want to log these yet. That's how we can get the Bolians back. Right, this has worked. So we gained the Bolians. We used Picard's ability to beam them to the ship. I'm then going to play the Type 7 shuttlecraft, the bottom ability, which is to gain a dilithium. So much dilithium, it's scary. You may either beam a card to a ship or recall a card beamed to a ship. So I'm going to recall the Bolians. Then, as my last action, we're going to play the Bolians to gain an influence. So I now have the 4, but the Bolians have gone. Where have they gone? Draw a card, and you may free play the drawn card. Now, free play basically means play it without using an action. So I am going to spend 2 dilithium to return the energy drain. And if I had an engineer in play, I do. The Binars are on board the Enterprise. So because I have an engineer in play, I gain an action. Awesome. Right. Whew. David's here. I need to discard a card for Picard. Thank you. I'd missed that. Let's put that one in. Right. So now I need to get myself another ally. And the only other ally I've got is here. So we'll do that next time. We're all ready for that mission. It's all good. It's all good. I now have 1 action left. So I could do that, but I don't think I want to. Do I want to gain the ship? I mean, yeah, look at that. That's going to be worth loads of points for me. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to play Analyze. I'm going to take an incident. Oh, subspace phenomenon. In order to gain a ship. And we're going to gain the USS Enterprise C. And it's going to go to my discard pile. Replaced by the Bird of Prey. Awesome. We are out of actions. Have I got anything else that I can do? I don't think I have anything else that I can do. Right, we are done. So we go to cleanup step. I am going to get rid of the Bird of Prey because I'm not really that bothered about that. We'll get a new card. It is the Zindi Reptilian Battleship. We're then going to put this on Karema. And then I'm going to discard these cards. Do I want to discard any cards from my hand? Wait a minute, I just realised I had Make It So, which isn't an action to play and would allow me to return an incident from my hand or discard pile. So let's just do that quickly at the end of last turn. Do I want to discard Will Riker? I think I do. I'm not sure, actually. No, I think we're going to discard Will Riker. Okay, so draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next round, resupply. I gain a glory. Yay for the peanut hamper. So I've gained a glory from that. Control. No control. Right, actions. So here we go. This is the turn. We're totally going to do it. We're going to do our mission. He says, if I can find a way of gaining another ally, which I have, but it requires me to take another incident. And that's loads of incidents. Okay. I'm not using Tamarians as well as I probably should. Okay, so I've also got 2 incidents in my hand that I need to get rid of. And I've got the Borg Spatial Trajector, which is great for sending away teams to planets. Have I got an ambassador in play? I do not have an ambassador in play. Okay. Right. Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the Daystrom Institute to draw a card. Okay. Got diplomacy. Yeah, I should have kept Riker or Crusher. I should have done. Gain an ally and log this card. Got it. Right. I think we're going to do it. I think we are going to do it. So I'm going to play diplomacy as an action. To gain an ally, we're going to gain this one. And then, as I gain it, I use Picard's ability to discard a card. To beam it on board the Enterprise. Okay, we now have 3 allies on board the Enterprise, and I have done my mission. So I have, just as a reminder, I need to have 3 allies on the same ship, and at least 2 of my tracks are at 4 or more, which they are. The reward for doing it is I gain 4 dilithium, and I draw 4 cards, and I may junk a card from the market. So you mark it as done, and I gain the rewards, which is 4 more lovely, tasty dilithium, which I definitely do not need. I draw 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4. I may junk a card from the market. Let's junk. Yeah, let's junk that. Don't want that. Let's have another one. The Kelpians, right? And right now, when you do a mission, any cards that were beamed to the ship that was doing the mission are dismissed. The ship stays, but the cards are gone. They've done their peace negotiations. It's all been done. It's all sorted. Everybody's happy. And I did my mission. Now, if you're playing with the advanced side of the boards, there are 3 different missions, and each of them is actually worth points at the end of the game as well. But on the basic side, they're not worth any points. Right, I now have a handful of cards, and I have 2 actions left. So, do we have Strange New Worlds? Yes, we do. Great. So we can do Strange New Worlds on Injury 8. But before that, I am going to play the Boltzmann Brain, which is not an action. I get to draw a card. I can't draw a card because my deck is empty, which means I'm going to shuffle my discard pile, and we are now going to buy one that's worth the most points at this stage in the game, which is Mr. LaForge of the Geordie variety. So that's what am I doing? I'm drawing a card. So I've drawn a card. There you go. You may return 1 incident. I absolutely am going to return 1 incident, which is going to be the political crisis. Right, still got 2 actions left. I am going to play the Unstable Wormhole to look at the top 2 cards from the encounter deck. Now, one's worth 9 points and one's worth 3. But the Guardian of Forever is awesome. But Vija is also awesome. So I think for this game, I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to put that on there. I do want to play a game where I get the Guardian of Forever, though. That's really good. And I draw a card. We've drawn the Tamarians. Wow. Oh, well, that was lucky. Oh, okay. Well, a complete change of plan. Yeah. Okay, right. How are we going to do this? People, cargo, ships don't have, allies don't have, encounter don't have. Right, okay, we can do this. I think we can do this. So now I'm going to spend an action to play Strange New Worlds. Select a controlled location, Injury 8. If there is 1 or more away teams and 1 or more ships there, look at the top 2 encounters. So do we want Vija or do we want Koala? Now, I'm going to have to show you this. It's good that David's watching because this is David's favourite card in the game. It's the Koala. It's worth 8 points and it's a wild card. Now, I quite like Vija, to be honest, because it's a synthetic, which means it's actually worth more points for me. So I'm afraid I'm not going to be taking the Koala. I'm going to be taking Vija instead. So Vija gets played. Koala goes to the bottom of the deck. I'm going to gain a research and I am going to log the selected location. So that location has been logged, which means the ship is dismissed. Right. Next, I've got 1 action left. And I am going to play the Tamarian. So this is an absolutely key card for this deck. And this is based on one of the best episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation that has been ever done. In fact, one of the best TV episodes that's ever been done. This is spend an action. I draw 3 cards. I can then discard 1 person, 1 cargo, 1 ship, 1 ally, 1 encounter, and 1 incident. And I get 1 glory for each card that I've discarded this way. So let's have a look at what we've got. Do I have a person? Yes, I do. I have quite a few. So we will discard Will Riker. So Will Riker is being discarded. Right, now, cargo. I'm going to discard the Borg Spatial Trajector. Ship. Have I got a ship? I do not have a ship. Do I have an ally? I do have an ally. Do I have an encounter? I do have an encounter. And do I have an incident? I do have an incident. So basically, that's, I believe, 5. So I get 5 glory. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then log this card. So the Tamarians is done. Darmok at Tanagra. And I've used all of my actions, but I've still got things to do. I can play Geordie LaForge to find a ship. I'll tell you what I should have done. Hang on. Slight undo here. No. Yeah, I was thinking maybe I should have used Geordie LaForge to find a ship. Then I could have discarded a ship. Never mind. So we're going to use Geordie LaForge to find a ship. I'm pretty sure there's a ship in here. Yes, there is. It's the Enterprise C. So I found the ship. And then I may refresh a ship. In fact, I probably could have got the Enterprise D back. Never mind. Never mind. Any other actions that I have that don't take... Oh, yeah, I've got more. I got more. I can play Karema to gain a Latinum. Doesn't cost me an action. I can play Set a Course to draw a card. Discard a card. Sure. And then I can warp up to 2 of my ships. I don't have 2 ships. I don't have any ships in play. But that's it. I mean, that was a big turn. That was a very, very big turn. But I think we did that right. Yeah, Geordie could have gotten me a ship. Okay, yeah. So I had Geordie in hand before I did that. Never mind. I'm a point short. Right. We go to the cleanup step. I'm going to put this on. I don't know at this point. Oh, I get to clear something. I clear that. It's the Borg probe. I'm just going to put it on there because I'm probably going to try and take that card. So these get discarded. We are almost there. We've got a couple of turns left. That goes there. I didn't bring data back. I've got 2 cards in hand. I'm going to keep that. And I don't know. I took this. I think I'm just going to discard it. I don't really need it. I could try and take control of one of those locations, but those locations are not actually that great for me. I mean, that's good if I wanted to push this track up to the top, but I think I'll probably get it to the top anyway. So I'm going to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Off we go. Next round, resupply. I gain a glory. Control. No control. So off we go. Actions. Yeah. Okay. Let's just check to see if I've got any incidents in here. I do. Right. So Beverly Crusher. Come on, Bev. I'm going to play Beverly Crusher as an action, gain some research, and I may return an incident from my discard pile. So I'm going to take an incident from my discard pile and return it. 1 action done. Next action is I am going to play the Bolians to gain an influence, draw a card, and I may free play this card. It's a shame that this card is free play anyway, which is to return an incident from your hand or discard pile. I think I have another incident in here. No, I don't. Okay, so I won't free play that yet. What I will do is we're going to play B4. We're going to take an incident to scan for a synthetic. Now, I know there's only 1 more synthetic in here, which is Moriarty. So you're supposed to look from top to bottom, but I know there's only 1 more in here, which is there. Okay, and then I'm going to gain that, and I'm just going to put it to my discard pile. And then what I'm going to do is I am now going to play Make It So to return an incident from your hand or discard pile. Right. Then I'm going to play that with that to gain 4 dilithium. I've got so much dilithium. And I'm going to keep that for next turn. And that will get me to the top of the blue track. Yes. Okay, we're done. I'm trying to play quick now because we've only got 45 minutes before the next playthrough. So, end of the round, I'm going to get rid of the Borg probe. I'm going to get another card. Is it? Oh, it's the USS Reliant. We're going to put that on there. The end of the game has been triggered. So what happens is, I believe next turn is my last turn. I think that will be 11 turns. That's going to come off. I think I did that. I can't remember. I might have missed it. Those get discarded. I'm keeping that card in hand. I draw 1 card. I'll tell you what, if this has got you excited, Josh, just wait. In 50 minutes' time, I will be doing another live stream of this where I'm going to be playing against the bot. And I don't know how that plays. So that will be interesting. Now, all of these right now are worth 2 points, but this could potentially be worth more. So I'm going to take Starbase 74, which costs 2 dilithium and a latinum. Goes on top of my deck. I draw it. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, last turn of the game. Resupply. I gain a glory. Control, no control. Off we go. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I can't get both that to the top and that to there. I don't know which is worth the most for me. Probably getting that to the top. So, yep, let's just play. Well, let's use the Daystrom Institute to find a synthetic and gain a glory. And I'm going to find a synthetic from my deck. And we'll take... Oh. That's awesome. We'll take Moriarty. I've never played this card before at all. So, so Moriarty has been found. And I gained a glory. I think I gained the glory. So that's that activation done. So playing Moriarty doesn't require an action. It does require 5 research, which I've got. I may spend 2 dilithium to scan for either a hologram or an engineer and force my opponent to discard 2 cards. But we're going to get a hologram or an engineer. Now then, I don't know which of those I want. Which is worth the most points? Somebody tell me, David, which hologram or engineer is worth the most points? Because I don't know. I mean, there's not that many holograms. There's the Holo Suite. I don't know how many points the Holo Suite is worth. Engineer. They're probably in the persons. Who classes as an engineer? Zephram Cochrane. He went ages ago. Right, I'm just gonna get the Holo Suite, I think. So I'm gonna scan for a hologram from here. Well, are there any holograms out? No. So we look through this to see if there's a hologram. Ah, we might not find one because it did go. There isn't one. So at that point, we look through another deck to see if there's a hologram in here. And I'm not sure we're going to find one. Nope, there isn't one in here. So, because if we don't find one in any of the decks, we actually get 2 points. So I'm now going to look through the ships. There isn't one in the ships. And the final thing is we're going to look through the allies, but I'm pretty sure there isn't a hologram in the allies. So if I've got this right, this has never happened to me before. I have scanned for a hologram, and I have looked through all of the cards in all of the decks, and I haven't found one. So I think I gain 2 glory. If somebody can confirm that, but I think that's what the rulebook says. Anyway, we are going to spend 1 action to play Utilize, and I am going to move up on the blue track, and I'm going to move up 2 spaces. So I've reached the top. That's that done. What else can we do that's going to get us any points? Let's play Analyze. I'm going to take an incident to gain a ship. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Make It So to return an incident. That's a good combo. And yeah, I'm not sure. David is saying it sounds correct. Excellent. There is 1 hologram cargo and 1 hologram ship. Both of those 2 are gone. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play Starbase 74, take control of it. When I take control of it, I find a person, and then I can discard a different card to free play the person that I found. So is there any of these people who have got anything on them which is going to give me a bonus? I don't believe... Oh, there is. There's... Yeah, there is. we're going to gain B4. So we've found B4 in Starbase 74, and we're going to free play it because I discarded another card. And then when B4 comes into play, I gain a cargo from the junk. So find a cargo that's worth the most points. 0 points. 2 points. That's probably it. Yeah, we'll take the Hollow Suite. So I'm going to gain that, which is going to go there. And we're done. Yep, I believe we are done. The end of the game has been triggered. So I didn't get that in the end. I think that was 11 turns. Apologies if it was 10 and I've lost track, but I think that was 11 turns. So we're now going to score. So the way that you do final scoring, and as I mentioned at the start, this is a bit easier than it was in Imperium, is you first of all look at your end game scoring abilities, because some of those might score for points in particular places. I don't have any that score for points in particular places. I just get 1 point for each of my allies and 1 point for each of my synthetics. So I'm just going to take all of my cards together. You don't get anything for the ones still left in your development pile, but you do get ones that you've locked. So, allies. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 allies. Is that all? I had loads more in the last game. So I'm just going to add that now. I'm going to use these as my points. That's points for my end game scoring. Synthetics as well. 1, 2. I think there's only like 4 of these. 3. Data. 4. So I've got 4 synthetics. Right? Then what we do is every card that is worth a certain number of points, specific number of points printed on the card, then you get those points. And there is a score pad if you wanted to use a score pad. I'm not going to use the score pad. I'm just going to go 9, 10, 11, 14, 17, 20, 23, 24, 25, 29, 31, 33, 39, 41, 43, 45, 50. So 50 points from cards. I'm just going to use this as a 50. And then these cards are all based, or worth a number of points based on how far I have achieved up the research track. I've got to 6. So that's 18 points for these. So 5, 10, 15, 18. Now, did I have any cards that triggered for the influence track? I don't think I did in the end. I didn't get any cards that scored for my influence track. Peanut Hamper. Where's Peanut Hamper? Have I already scored that? Oh, synthetic? Is that what you're saying? Are we saying that I missed Peanut Hamper? Oh, sorry. Starbase 74 is a yellow card. Yes. So I get 2 points for that. What did I miss with the Peanut Hamper? Yeah, use the scoring pad. I should have used the scoring pad. There is a scoring pad included, which has all of the stuff on here. Incidents are also minus 2 points, but I think I managed to get rid of all of my incidents at the end. So, yeah, I think I'm owed a point for the Peanut Hamper because it was a synthetic. Yeah, thank you. Right, that's it. Now, Latinum, I believe, all of this Latinum and all of these dilithium crystals are not worth anything. Is that right? I'm sure they used to be. Final scoring. Yeah, they're not worth anything at the end of the game. So let's have a look. Let's see what our score is. And if I manage to beat my score this afternoon, which I think I have. So that was 50, 60, 70, 80, 85, 90, 95, 99. Now, you're going to laugh at this because it says here, If you scored at least 70, you know how to play the game. If you scored at least 100, you're getting quite proficient with this deck. I scored 99. I'm happy with that. But that 1 point when I forgot to play Geordie to find the Enterprise, to discard the Enterprise for the Tamarians, would have got me the 100 points. 100 points is what you are aiming for. If you get 120, you've done an outstanding job. Quark would disagree. Yes. We're done. Yes. Now, this has been a long stream. We've been just over 2 hours. But bearing in mind, a lot of the time today has been explaining the rules as we go along. And I didn't think we'd actually cover everything in the game, and I think we did. I think we have seen so much of this game. We saw gaining, we saw taking, we saw enlisting. We saw enlisting early from the development card. We saw finding, we saw returning, we saw lots and lots of keywords. I'm just looking through the keywords. The only thing we didn't see, which you won't see in this deck, is the word destroy. Destroy is a keyword which removes the card and it goes back in the box. It's completely out of the game. But we saw dismissing, we saw promoting. Yeah, we saw pretty much all of the keywords. And like I mentioned at the start, the keywords are really important in this game. They are all very clearly defined on the reference card and in the rulebook. And make sure when you're playing this game, you follow through the rulebook the first couple of times that you're playing it, because there's a lot of tricky parts to the game that people will forget. Like when you gain a card, you can always gain from here instead of here. And when you gain a card, you can either put it on the top of your deck or your discard pile. And there's reasons why you wouldn't to do both of those things. We are all done, but in 40 minutes time, I will be back. JP has arrived. I've heard him. He's downstairs. He's making a cup of tea. I hope he's made me one. I'm going to be playing Picard, but I'm going to be playing against Koloth, the Klingon Koloth, and we are going to be using the automated opponent, which is the bot. I have absolutely no idea how the bot works because I haven't read the rules. That's been JP's job. He's learned how to play it, and we're going to be doing that in 40 minutes time. So I'm very excited about that because I get to play the game without the admin of running the bot, but you will see how that plays shortly. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for everybody for joining us in the chat. And as mentioned, these are sponsored videos, so a huge thank you to WizKids for sponsoring the videos and supporting the channel. But I also rely on the support of my Patreon campaign as well. And if you are one of my Patreon supporters, you will have seen all of my practice games of this that I've been playing over the last few months. If you're a Patreon supporter, you get access to lots of behind-the-scenes videos and discussions about the game. There may be more. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see some of you in about 40 minutes' time. Cheers all. Bye.